you guys have been given entrance into the it's really actually a city, I think, of Ardent. I just checked, and apparently it is, quote the book, the second only to Saldra as the Avoirdupois' largest city. So this is not like just a monastery with some ramshackle buildings. This is like actually a pretty
I remember it
to-do
was a pretty
place.
big deal.
Like I said, the Archbishop of the Avoirdupois territory has his home
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, this is where he hangs. This is where he summers. And this is probably the largest, has the most like classic of Avoirdupois architecture as well, because it's one of their oldest cities.
Yep.
The oldest of the church's holdings in the Avoirdupois territory. So this is actually a very large place, and all around you can see the stone structures are draped in banners that of white and golds that represent the light of Salumer. You can see immaculate stonework, and as you pass through the town, there are come on, Cap. As you pass through the town, you walk by many who are just doing like street corner ministry. They are reading from the Holy Scriptures to anyone who is within earshot who will listen. And unlike maybe a more modern metropolitan place like Triskellion, there are actually people who are just taking the time to stop and listen. You are led to a let's say, I mean, it's an office. It's it belongs to one of the Reverend Mother, whose name is Vivienne. Reverend Mother Vivienne has cleared her schedule to speak with you. She is in charge of many of the intelligence gathering and operational logistics of cells of holy knights operating here in Ardent, the Ardentines. And she has arranged to meet with you because they take these things very seriously here. So, Connor, you're basically about to get a redo of last session's holy meeting. The difference this time is that when you are seated, it is in a room that's large enough for, it's like a meeting room. It's large enough for many people, and you can see that there are several scribes that have been set up. They have scrolls and writing utensils, and it looks like they are prepared to take dictation. And seated in the center of these scribes, there is the Reverend Mother Vivienne, who is an older horse who is dressed in the habit of the religious robes. Once again, I'm out of my depth with a lot of the religious ritual that goes on here, but you can tell by the way she dresses and addresses you that she is a high-ranking member of the church here in Ardent. And she says, Sir Connor, the word of your exploits has reached us even here in Ardent. You have made quite a name for yourself as a champion of the people of our land, of the Avoirdupois, and it troubles me that you it sounds as though you bring grave news. So we are here to listen. Please tell us of your exploits.
I don't remember where this first happened. Was it near on the way to Honnet? Or it was on the Three Corners Fort Road there, the Via Salutis. I think that we first came across near that circle.
Yeah,
I think that's what that's marking.
Silverhorn.
I'll explain, what happened to Silverhorn. Yes, we had come across an infestation of undead that seemed to be coming from these corrupted ticks that would suck the blood of corpses and they would come to life again. And he would describe the various necromancers we found, especially that one really old one that we ended up killing. Because she seemed to be uh, more in the know than the rest, even though most of her ravings were just mad lunacy.
Hmm.
But it does, where she said she got this power from, a a gray fox in the swamps was really telling, and he'd be assured to let them know that. I'm trying to remember other details.
No, that's fine.
Wouldn't
You're
it
not.
be funny if this was the moment that Connor decided to tell somebody, hey, we met a shade in the forest who said he was the former King Rinaldi?
Is that what you were getting at?
Haven't mentioned that to anybody, I don't think. It's ever come up ever again.
Well, did it say that to Connor, though? I don't remember if it did or not. And
I believe we were all there. Well, I wasn't. But
we can't understand the shade. It would have had to have been translated for us.
Yeah, it's going back a while now. What you will have recalled is that the shade looked like royalty. The way it was dressed, it looked like royalty that had been dragged through the mud. But it was also being referred to by the ghosts, the bandits, as if it was royalty. So you could understand what they were saying, and they were addressing it as if they were addressing their liege.
Oh, and let me guess. Did the shade, in my now recent memory, did it look anything like Mercurio?
There's a passing resemblance, yeah, a little bit.
All right. He'll actually bring that up then, since we now have a possible, though reluctant, member of royalty along with us. These armed holy men might be the best people to tell this to.
unless they're in on it.
Perhaps.
That's true.
So as you're speaking, all three of these scribes are furiously writing down, presumably what you're saying. When you make this claim as of Mercurio perhaps being part of the royal bloodline, two of them actually stop and look up and begin to examine Mercurio keenly. The Reverend Mother is very poised and stoic throughout this entire explanation and recounting that you give her. She nods patiently, and but even she seems a little bit intrigued by this notion as she looks over Mercurio, who seems increasingly uncomfortable with all of the eyes in the room being on him. At length, the scribes finish what it is that they're writing, and the Reverend Mother will say this. Indeed, much of what you said is quite troubling, and some of it has already been confirmed by our independent investigators. While we have sent our holy men out into the field to follow up on these rumors, and they have found evidence as well. However, we have been unable to track this nightmare to its source. So we are quite interested to see this map that you have told us of these unholy sites. If what you say is true, then it is very important that we waste no time. Unfortunately, many of our seasoned warriors have taken to the front lines in the war against the Doloro. We do have trainees and students of the way, of the path. And perhaps some of them could help you in this endeavor. I understand that it is not your burden, although you seem to have taken it upon your own shoulders. But if there's anything we could do to help you, in addition to conducting our own investigations, we would like to. On the matter of this, the Copper Eye Society, she seems conflicted. She does not like your report of your conversation with the priest in Shalon.
Right. He wouldn't go right out and say he suspects him, but he would give all the evidence and all the little ticks that he noticed.
Mm.
I'm chomping at the bit here to ask a question that Dan himself would not ask.
Oh no! I hate when that happens.
Is it possible that Griffin could ask this? The Doc could ask this question?
Yeah, I think that's possible. I mean, this would be a good. It would be good if Griff was with
us. If the
us,
trained paladins that have been trained here have been sent to the front lines to fight against the war with the Doloro, how does the diocese of the Archbishop of the Doloro territories taking this?
Okay. Well, out of character, we'll have to do a little bit of discussion here because I'm probably missing something. But
there is an Archbishop of the Solomare for the Doloro territories for those weird crossover religion types. So there is a Solomare religious presence in the Doloro territories. So if they've sent paladins from the Ardent to fight on the front lines, that constitutes a religious presence of one diocese fighting against another diocese. That's why I'm asking, how is the diocese of the Doloro territories handling the paladins of the Ardent fighting on behalf of the Avatopois?
Wait, I'm confused. They're fighting the Doloro. The Doloro are pagan.
Not all the Doloro are pagan. That's why there's an archbishop in the Doloro territory for that weird crossover religion I'm always forgetting the name of.
Paladinesi.
There we go.
Awesome, thank you.
Well, yeah. Well, obviously, you mean in other words, like you're asking why are the Ardentines getting involved in a fight? Well, the Ardentines are getting involved with the Avatopois because the Avatopois are correct.
That's why I'm asking what the diocese from the Doloro territory, what their state, their status is on this. I'm not asking why it's happening.
Right.
That's a good question. It might be that it depends a lot in politics. The Diocese of Doloro may be endorsing the Doloro's cause. They may be neutral.
That's why I'm asking for Griffin's character to be the one asking. It's a question that's biting away at me. I want to know in character, or I guess Harmon would want to know. I don't know. I want to know. I want to know. Dan would never even think to ask. This is why I'm asking if Griffin's character could possibly be asking.
Gotcha. I think it makes a lot of sense for Griffin's character to ask that question.
This is one of the things that gets me excited. These things.
Gotcha. No, especially considering that he is, a Doloro native and also kind of has a religious bend. So, I would be very concerning for him. It's a good question. And I guess in this case, right, these holy figures among the same religion probably have to maintain like separate communication with one another beyond the politics of like the, mortal realm. So, but yeah, the way that I see it is that this, at the end of the day, all of this stuff is, it's a territorial issue, right? I think the warriors of Ardent pride themselves as being the best warriors. The war seems justified to them, so they're lending their support to the war. I mean, because they're also of Avatopois, even though they're also holy. So
yeah, they're paladins though, so they're not.
True.
They're not strictly militia. Or not militia. They're not strictly military. They represent the church in these matters.
It's true. And so there is that like political minefield, right?
That's what I'm saying. Their presence isn't strictly political. It's also religious. I can't think of the word I'm looking for here. I'm forgetting a lot of words. Ecumenical?
Okay,
yeah.
ecumenical.
It's an ecumenical matter.
Right. I could see this causing a schism. I like the idea that they are still involved with the war effort, and that would probably really piss off the diocese in Doloro territory. I mean, the
because
alternative is
the separate dioceses also interact together as a. I can't remember what the council is called, but all of them are considered equals. But there's also the one that's was prima inter pares, which is first among equals.
Okay.
So they're all one unit, but I mean, does that mean the diocese for the Doloro pulls out of the Doloro territory, or do they
It might be.
represent them politically instead of ecumenically? There is a very deep division here.
Yeah, I guess so.
Primus inter pares, sorry. I got my Latin wrong.
That's okay. Like I said, I'm out of my depth here with that degree of religious like knowledge, like structural knowledge. Well, then maybe it wouldn't make sense. Maybe we could.
I mean, if you're not willing to come down on it in any direction, then it always is just above our characters anyway.
That's true. It's just a matter of like I like the idea that, but it would be a huge. The ramifications are going to be pretty, right? If it's like a schism in the religion, that's a big deal. If it's not, then it begs the question of like, what are the remaining dioceses in Doloro territory doing? Are they like withdrawing from their territory? Are they like consolidating in avoirdupois? Or it is a good question. It's just a really big question that could have. I don't know if I'm ready to like.
Well, because this war that's happening in the background is a major plot point anyway.
Yeah.
Because literally, it's already the German front. The Abattoirs have many towns now that have been drained of the young and the old and all the capable of fighting, which means that it's not going well. And historically, the Abattoirs have not won a war on the front with the Doloro before.
Yeah.
That goes back into the past of the Abattoir territory. You don't win a fight against the Doloro. That's why you don't fight the Doloro.
Yeah.
And here we are. And not only a military engagement, but apparently a religious one as well.
Yeah. Well, you know what? There are game reasons to not have an army of paladins here as well. So I think.
I mean, does the government have the authority to force the paladins into action?
Yes. Even though they technically report to the Pope, land is granted by means of indulgence. It's kind of like the king says, "Oh yes, you can have a church here." Because I mean, that's a good question of I mean, this is where Cardinal Richelieu shows up. Hey, can the king actually tell me I can't build a church and my own army of paladins here?
Well, I mean, if they've pulled all the old men and the fighting capable children off of the towns across the front to send to the war, would they not then reach into their back pocket and say, "We're going to have to force the hand of the church on this"?
Well, and also, you're assuming the church doesn't want to participate in this, like an excuse to beat up pagans?
Right, but that's why I'm questioning whether the Diocese of the Doloro has any opinion on the matter.
Yeah, well, obviously they're pro. They're obviously pro-war because they sent people. Whether they're doing this in duress or not, they did try very hard not to send people.
Well, I mean, we know that from this side, the Abattoir side. We don't know if the Doloro the Diocese of the Doloro have sent anybody to the front.
Right, and the Doloro also, the Palaginesians is sort of in neutral territory. So, I mean, like the Ardentines have a problem that here they are in the second largest city. If the king says you go to war and you're in the middle of my second largest city, you don't want to get kicked out of there. Whereas the Pelagonesians, if they got kicked out of Doloro territory, they're already on the border of Avertipois domain.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure this is a huge schism in the church. That's like an issue of, should we be involved in statecraft? And some people are saying, yeah, kill the pagans. Or yeah, kill the misbelievers. It would explain why the necromancers are flourishing, because it's kind of like, hey, where are the right-hand path people who are supposed to beat up necromancers? They're busy.
Yeah.
So that satisfies my curiosity right there. Like, oh, okay. Well,
yeah,
you got necromancers.
We're also very much turning the Avertipois territory into an all quiet on the Western Front scenario. We're sending everybody to the front because historically the Avertipois have never won a fight with the Doloro.
They've never won a fight with the Doloro. This time for sure.
You know what? And after thinking about it, here's the official word from Reverend Mother Vivienne. She says that currently the diocese in the Doloro territory has stated that they are remaining neutral in the war. They are basically like not participating in the war effort on the Doloro side. They are loyal to Salumer, and the council has stated that this is a righteous war. The right has fallen on the side of the Avoirdupois. Because of that, there are ramifications for the churches in the Doloro territory. They are starting to come under attack, political attack, but it looks like it might become like actual attack at some point as people are more and more disgruntled. It's possible they're going to get forced out of the territory. And is becoming sort of an internal conflict as well. But it hasn't boiled over to anything just yet, so we don't have to worry about dealing with that just yet in Doloro territory.
Which
although this probably means bad things for Colette as well, who's currently on a quasi-religious pilgrimage through that place.
Well, so it also means other things. Remember the Doloro forces that we saw on the East Granvert River kind of taking control of the transition territory around Triskellion.
Yeah.
That if they think that the church is working against them, and Triskellion being the seat of the church.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who are only listening to this and not watching it, I threw my hands in the air.
It's what a tangled web we weave. And yeah, all this bears consideration. But for the time being, that's the official word. Doloro seems that while they're under attack by the Avoirdupois, they're also struggling with an internal religious debate, which has kind of been there bubbling under the surface for a long time between the Luderists and the Salumer faithful. And now they have actual conflict to hang this argument on. So we'll see what happens.
And this is the point where the Porter du Soleil rises up, and all of the old Heliodrists.
Yeah, there
Time
you go.
to take back our religion, boys.
Yep. Quick, well, no one's watching. Okay, cool. So, where were we? Right. So, the Reverend Mother seems, like I said, they're very interested in learning that there are these sites where the necromantic activity is coming from. They hadn't detected them on their own, but the fact that you have already dealt with 2 such necromancers, well, it's encouraging that your information is probably correct, especially because they can correlate many of the types of unholy magic with sightings that they've received, that their inquisitors have come across. So this is good for them. It's a good starting place. On the other hand, they can't give you like a level 20 warrior of justice. They do have some very devoted and very promising students that may be willing to help you on your cause if you'd like to roll for a regulars, Connor.
Yes, I would be glad to have the church's help in this matter.
All right.
I need to look up what that role is going to be.
Just saying, if Harmon was around, there'd be a lot more words being spoken. Harmon cares,
so
Dan
bored.
does not. Yeah.
Yeah.
One, none my concerns. Two, I come from the other side of the continent.
All right, let's see what I roll for you, regulars. Mind and gossip versus 3.
I guess the doctor never sold you on becoming a willing convert to the religion, huh?
Not enough to get piety, no.
Yeah.
I don't think etiquette's gonna help here. I'm trying to. Oh yeah, I get that D8 from Potter.
That's the hard sell of piety. Yeah, I'm willing to outwardly express my belief in the religion, but I'm not willing to spend 10 experience points on it.
It's just so many hours at church a week, and it's hard, It's a commitment.
I mean, that is the true test of faith, is it not? 10 experience points.
Right. There you go. All right.
I get 4 of them.
Nice.
The trifecta
Apparently-
of skills: mind, gossip, and Potter.
Apparently, there are many who consider your cause to be just, and they are willing to join. So I'm gonna make this a little interesting. You have free reign to pick to determine 3 of these guys. Arc. I want one of them to be a specific NPC,
Okay.
a young holy knight by the name of Sir
James
Florian.
Lipton.
James Lipton. Okay.
What was his name?
Sir Florian.
He's been messing with the water, I know it.
Florian is a strapping and courageous-looking deer, I guess stag. I don't know. But the thing about Sir Florian is that he, upon meeting you, shows all deference, but for the rest of the party, seems to have very little to say. He will nod to the doctor and to Mercurio and gives them a little, reverent bow, but he seems to just curl his lip up at Dan and Dan's general.
Oh, what, not Anushka?
Anushka as well. Yes.
So he's not even pulling the French romance angle with Anushka. No, too dirty for me.
Yeah, no, just charmed. Yeah. You get the sense that Sir Florian has drank the Kool-Aid, as they say. Sir Florian is a very pious individual who believes in the righteousness of the scripture, and immediately does not think that Anushka or Dan has what it takes to embark on a holy quest.
Yeah,
so,
but is that not what the scripture itself says? Was it not Heloise herself which wandered into the tents of the downtrodden to heal those in need? You, sir, are a fraud. A fraud, I say!
I would not expect an illiterate commoner to understand the scripture that he has been
You're just assuming
dictated.
I'm illiterate.
He is assuming the hell out of that. Yes.
You know what? It's the church's place to disseminate the knowledge of the scripture to those willing to hear it, and not the place of those such as yourself to withhold it from those in need. You,
It is not my
sir,
place
do the
at all.
church a disservice with your haughty acts.
I am but a weapon in the service of the Lord.
I'm sorry, what lord?
the Lord of Light.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you assuming the gender of Saint Heloise?
Well, hold on a second. Is Saint Heloise really like the holy?
Depends on your
deity?
religious leaning, because there is the part of the church that believes in what is it, ancestor worship or something like that. I can't remember which. I think it's
the Hyperdulians practice veneration of saints. Everyone, the Church of Slamer believes that Heloise existed and laid down the foundations of white magic. Hyperdulians believe that we should that people are ascending to sainthood, and that those people are awesome, and that we should all like follow in their footsteps, and also basically worship them as surrogate gods, which is frowned upon, but not actually heresy.
And these Ardentines, they are Hyperdulians?
No, Ardentines are Ardentines. They are paladins who've taken up the right-hand path, who they would be hardcore penitents, most likely, which is the idea that existence is suffering, your worldly attachment is disgusting. I'm looking at you, nameless doctor. And nothing matters, but the elite. Once people realize that giving alms to the poor and charity is all important above all other things. Now, of course, this gets into the huge paradox of, so you guys are into charity, but you get lots of money and have this really nice palace, and I can't help but notice your shiny armor and
Very
really
shiny.
high quality swords.
Yeah.
And those guys would say, no, none of that matters.
Which, I mean, there's a strong argument for Dan being more holy than this guy. Dan, who has nothing and lives off of nothing. Also, also the fact that you're claiming the Lord of Light, which is not a thing.
Well, retcon.
Right. So it would be, I'm just, once again, the theological debate is something we love about Ironclaw, because it's like, the Catholic Church also says you should give all charity to the poor, so let's go.
I was about to say it's a harmless debate we can have about theology because it takes place in a fantasy area, and just so long as you don't bring in the real world stuff. And then Raph says, and then the Catholic Church.
Well, it's because we really wanted this to be medieval, so you can ask that. But obviously the Ardentines here would be hardcore.
The fact is also that they come from the stock of nobility too, because the nobles send their sons and, I would say daughters, their sons here. So
and daughters.
This guy being stuck up noble makes sense.
I mean, remember, these are people who've decided to give up their entire lives and fight evil. So some of them will join this because they want to fight and couldn't get in a fighting situation. Some of them will be hardcore pagan haters who, go kill the Doloro? Yes, I would do it without asking. Some of them just do what they're told because that's all they know. Some of them might be against it, but not against it enough to, once again, they might have a convincing argument to go get involved with this. It's like, you're not wrong to say, like, should the church really be involved with this? Probably not, but they are. So, you could do the argument and that stuff. And they probably already had this debate before you showed up. And the fact that you're Dirty Dan,
well, the current debate is really a classist debate that Sir Florian is looking down at you and me. That's why. Yeah. That's the only reason I was arguing.
Yeah, I mean, sure, you should argue from, hey, didn't Heloise argue that worldly stuff, and should, I mean, you do make a strong case that you're dirty, like when you show up at the temple to, upset the tables from the moneylenders, and here you show up in rags with nothing. I mean, you make a much stronger case than Connor over there, who is like so rich he can buy whacking and then lose them, and it's not a big deal.
Who cares?
Who cares?
Right. And then there's me, who, well, I am a commoner, I say, holding up my brace of pistols and my epic sword.
Yeah, you have more money on you in weapons than most towns can afford.
Well, no, I think a town could afford this, but yeah.
I mean, a town usually has what, a couple of hundred dinar in it.
You only get 20% resale value. But still, the town would like argue like, so you spent the entire budget.
Yes, you spent our entire economy on this one sword.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's a really good pointy stick. Yeah, but this just one. Like we kind of wanted to have the new well dug. But right. So I think it's hilarious. Basically, all I can think of as Anushka is kind of like, this is distracting us from getting rid of that occult circle. And also, none of these guys seem to know who Mercurio is. So,
well, I mean, the scribes gave him a good once-over, right?
Yeah, they don't know who he is. So
it's true. So you know what? And actually, we're still here. Let's address that. To the point of yes, to the point of this Mercurio creature potentially having royal lineage. I hope you understand the dangerous implications to the modern regime. However, as we are all servants to the crown here, well, it is important that we consider what is, who is the rightful governor of Calabria, right? And to that end, I would say, looking at him, he does seem to have similar traits. However, it is impossible to be sure, especially given the condition that you have found him in, the state of his own memory. But the Reverend Mother Vivian pauses and considers something. She says, there are old tales that the Rinaldi bloodline had an heirloom sword that was able to, it shone with a magical light when in the hands of a true Rinaldi, an heir to the royal bloodline. Rumors are that this sword had been in the possession of the Enclume, but recently word has reached us that it has gone missing. If you're able to recover this sword, perhaps you can prove beyond a shadow of the doubt the legitimacy of this supposed heir. Without that, I'm afraid, any such claims were probably not worth much. The Mercurio seems very humbled and embarrassed by all of this. He says, not my place to presume such. I think that this is all must be a large misunderstanding. I have spent time thinking of it, and if it were true, then what became of my memory? How was I to find myself so far away from my home? And in any case, I would not want to put my friends in danger collecting this item just for the benefit of disproving what must be salacious rumor.
I mean, it's not like there's entire schools of magic specifically designed with messing with people's minds. Dan says with a sarcastic tone. More sarcastic than I spun on it myself.
Okay. You're going to draw the attention and probably the ire of Mother Vivian. Who says, the monkey speaks. Well.
That's a lemur, actually. No need to be racist.
Huh. In any case, we do not concern ourselves here with the magical trickery. We are only interested in truth and the light's justice.
Actually, it seems to be more of a matter of political hierarchy, actually. Which you seem to be fully on board with. If the stories are true.
Oh, turning to Connor, she's going to say, Sir Connor, you demean yourself by traveling with such rabble who would speak above his station?
Actually, I prefer people that do intend to speak above their station. If people are afraid to give you advice, you will never hear the good or the bad. You lose something in being too far above those who serve you.
These are
This man speaks wisdom that should be heeded, I think. There are magics that can delve deep into the depths of the mind and wring truth from lies. I think we should utilize some of this magic to find the truth of this poor young man's identity. Does it not behoove you as servants of the people? Are you not, as I, one who is to serve the people who we protect? You protect their souls, and I protect their bodies. This man here has trouble with both. People are trying to kill him, and people are trying to keep him from knowing his true identity. So let us use what tools we have available. And I think that might be a negotiation role at the very least.
I would call for one, with the exception that they're not offering any kind of help in this regard, and they don't really have any help to offer. You could, just in terms of what you could gain from a role, not much, right?
Can't change the mind of somebody who doesn't want to.
Like, honestly, even if you could change her mind, there's nothing more she could do for you than say, well, I suggest you try to find a cognoscenti then. We don't have any here. So she could agree with you, but it wouldn't actually help much. As it stands, I think that she is, well, I think she's a little critical of you. And she would say that she has heard that you are, well, consider yourself a modern man, that a lot of dangerous ideas, such as, putting stock in the thoughts and opinions of the underclasses, is becoming more popular among certain individuals these days, but that the Ardentines are rooted in tradition. It is tradition that created civilization in this wild land, and should tradition fall in every corner of the land, the last remaining bastion of it will be here in Ardent. So,
yes, it is true that we do stick to our traditions, such as losing wars with the Doloro.
blasphemy.
Hey, Anushka, maybe we should side with the necromancers. Maybe their fleas will spread some sort of horrible disease which will kill 50 to 75% of the population, thus rising the middle to lower classes up by our power of production.
Well, while I salute your plan to topple the monarchy, it's the people who suffer the most from the plague.
Not the survivors.
Meanwhile, the scribes are furiously writing all of this down.
I think you'll find the survivors come out of it pretty good.
That's if you subscribe to that certain theory that the Renaissance was indeed funded, but that's because a bunch of nobles consolidated wealth, and I'm against the consolidation of wealth. I say, brandishing my epic group here.
Yes, as Dan
I didn't mean to
in his
consolidate this wealth. It consolidated around me.
yeah, Dan in his rags with no earthly belongings. Yes, I see what you mean. That's a very good point.
Hey, I'm working on it. Pretty soon I'll be fighting naked.
Will be a sight to see, I'm sure. Particularly for those of us on the ground.
This is getting worse and worse.
You're
in my
welcome.
head. Okay. Honestly, I mean, I understand from a mechanical perspective, the atavism gifts are probably really good for what you're trying to do. From a narrative perspective, the idea that Anushka is who, the way that we've played her so far has been very fun-loving metropolitan city girl is.
Well, wandering around half naked, is going to be. I've never felt so free.
Okay, there you go. And now I
mean,
truly know what it means to serve with joy.
She spent some time with the Phelan, which are the hippies of the setting.
Well,
Really, if you
atavism
think
is
about it.
also- I've always been pretty high on the bat scale, so the wilding ways are in. I'm trying not to pretend to be a young city girl because the cameras are on.
Yeah, now she only eats vegan bugs.
There you go. Only vegan bugs.
Basically, so I'm already there. I'm a D12 lemur. I'm the prime example of my species because you don't see any others anywhere.
Yeah. I like everyone just calls you a monkey.
Yeah, no need to be racist.
Hey. We're in the religious center of a very conservative society right now, so yeah. It just makes sense to me that I think it's a beautiful speech, Connor. I appreciate it. If you'd like to give me a role to maybe try to change the backwards opinions of this Reverend Mother Vivian, I would take a will negotiation role, but
Yeah, you're preaching at fanatics
unlikely.
is the problem.
Yeah.
Well, just on the off chance it might work.
We're here.
Change even just one mind.
You're including your speciality for negotiation with
Well,
the
that's
lady
only if
folk?
it comes up a 1.
Right, it's a favor.
Let me see. I have cosmopolitan, and because I'm dealing with a different culture, the clerical church culture, could that help? Where I don't get any penalties or bonuses. I just roll the dice.
Yeah, I think it just would remove any penalties that you would take from trying to negotiate outside your comfort zone.
All right, and I'm not going to throw my nobility in it just yet because I'm actually speaking of some ideas that are counter to the popular nobility. So you got a 7.
Got a 7. I was going to roll a contested here, but she's rolling d6s, so you won.
Well, I got 1 success, so like it would take a master negotiator to maybe change her mind, but I might make a dent in it at least.
Yeah, how many could she wrote?
Just one. She only has 2 dice.
No, so tie, basically.
If we're counting successes, it would be a tie. But I think I think at the end of the day, there's a moment where you think that she's gonna flip the table and storm out or something. Like you can see that some of the words that you have said have offended her very way of life, but she calms herself and the scribes will they're gonna flinch, but then she's going to say, we owe as citizens of Avoirdupois, we owe much to you and your exploits, Sir Connor. You have traveled far and seen many things, and perhaps your words should not be discounted out of hand. I offer an apology to you and your retinue. Although I do urge you all to seek the light and consider your path and your prayers.
You said
Gives you
these
kind
guys
of a
were all
religious
pendants?
schooling. Sorry, roll for pendant.
You said all these guys were pendant.
I believe so. Yeah.
I mean, well, what's a pendant but a flagellant that stopped a little early?
That's a thinker, man.
You considered buying the fool route? I mean, you qualify for it.
I think I've said that before, that I've thought about it, but my list is so long, I don't want to just keep adding stuff to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, but you'd be so good at it.
You just want to give me the legal authority to say the things I say, instead of just getting in trouble for saying them.
Yeah, I mean, if you were a fool, you could get away with this.
True.
Well, if it helps Raph, if Connor dies, my next character is a fool.
A little bit.
I know it's not going to be Raktus playing him, but...
To be fair, you do have the negotiation chops for it. You say all the right things right up to the end, and then you say some wrong things.
It'll be a natural to me.
Yeah, you just bring back old Arcloid negotiation instead of the new one that you've developed.
Okay. Well then, I don't know if there's any questions or anything you guys have for the Reverend Mother. Now would be a good time to ask them if you do have them. Sounds like no.
I mean, we have a paladin with us now who hates us. Well, hates all but one of us. And apparently 2 others that Connor has to come up with, I think.
Connor came up with a nice list, actually.
Okay.
Dropped it in the chat, which is nice. So that's cool. Anthony the Just. Bernard the Hammer. Cool. Anyway.
You got 4, right? Because you rolled 3 and you have 1 by default?
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
And the one by default is Sir Florian.
Sir Florian, who is kind of like the...
I wasn't looking at whatever you dropped in. I'm just talking off the top of my head.
And I didn't put his, skills and gifts in there because I figured you'll be keeping track of them since you named them. If you want me to, I will take all the stats down, but if you already have them, you already have them.
Yeah. We'll talk after the session about how his stats should look.
I just mean, if we're going to ask any questions of this lady, it'd be about the church and why, the diocese at the Chalon sur Soldre so easily dismissed Connor when he brought this information to them.
I mean, that's a fair point. Although we have established there is some separation between these 2 organizations. So they might not have a lot of insight into that.
You say that, but the Archbishop's summer home is here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's also a follow-up question. Where's the Archbishop at?
Archbishop is here. He's just not meeting with you.
Yeah. I just mean that if you were going to follow this all the way to the source, highest you're probably ever going to get is the Archbishop of the Abattoir territories. You're probably not going to get a meeting with the Pope, but you're in the Archbishop's hometown.
True, and we could have asked if this meeting would broker the Archduke's attention or not.
Probably not at this point. We have ruffled some feathers.
And we probably have 4 potential eyewitnesses when the time comes to actually do bring it to his attention. So I say let's go hunt some necromancers.
Necro hunting. So here's the question. When you say hunt some necromancers, do you want to travel south to this ritual site? Do you want to head back to Conscience to try to root out the conspiracy? Or, I don't know, some other necromancers?
Well, there's this easy target right there. Weeding out the conspiracy would be much more difficult, I think.
It's a fair point. We'll say, for the sake of argument now, during your conversation with the Reverend Mother, she is horrified to learn that there is this unholy presence so close to Ardent, and she intends to send people to take care of it as soon as possible. You could be those people. In that case, I'll offer you the goal of eradicate the necromantic presence south of Ardent, or the ritual site south of Ardent, as a goal. But
would mean
you already have 3 goals, so you'd have to drop 1.
What do I care about the least? Maybe. Oh, here's the problem. If we all agree to do this one thing because it's the easiest thing and it's right in front of us, we should probably all agree to get rid of the same goal, right?
Yeah. Well, we could either go south and discover the secrets of the Copper Eye Society, or we can go back north and...
well, I think Consent would be the north with the Copper Eye Society, because that's where we found about them.
Yeah.
I mean, we could just give up on the Copper Eye Society. Screw these guys.
So you think that's the one to get rid of?
It would be the easiest one to get rid of because I actually care about Mercurio and helping him get his memory back. And returning the Lost Rinaldi sword is a lot easier because you just go to a place and drop that off. Discovering the secrets of the Copper Eye Society could be a tarball that occupies us for a very, very long time.
Well, I mean, we also don't know where the Lost Rinaldi sword is either. It's not a drop-off. It's a find.
Oh, find and drop it off. Oh, give her the Rinaldi sword one then, because we're halfway through the Copper Eye Society, and I like Mercurio. And
the problem is that the Lost Rinaldi sword could be the tie-in to the Mercurio, because if he turns out to be a Rinaldi, then the sword will prove that, and having the sword... Those two could be tied together.
So what are you voting to drop?
Copper Eye Society.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Yeah, we can always pick it up again later after we do this.
If someone offers us the goal again, please won't you help us with the Copper Eye Society? We could take that. But no, screw those guys. I hate those guys. We already got involved with them and got a bunch of people beaten up for our pleasure. And I've already got enough. I already have to topple De La Vega.
What was the wording on the Snoogle again?
Let's see. It would be destroy the unholy ritual site south of Ardent.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We were already going to do that anyway. I kept my mystic necromancy. I know way more about destroying unholy sites than I do about some stupid Copper Eye Society.
Cool. Okay, then. All right.
I'm becoming a professional witch hunter. Maybe I'll buy Witch Hunter. I can read.
You're halfway there.
Yeah, reading is a fool's game.
Reading is a fool's game. Yeah, you're looking pretty good there, guy. Sleeps.
Well, I mean, what's reading ever gotten me?
Well, not reading's gotten you sleeping.
Look, what can I possibly learn from reading? Everything I've ever learned, I've learned from doing.
Every time that I play the game, I don't take literacy because it never makes sense for whatever I'm trying to do. But then everyone else in the group does take literacy, and then everyone makes fun of me for being stupid. So,
yes, thank you. I feel humbled. That is the correct way to play the game.
Yeah.
Well, look, all you need is one person in the party who needs to read. More than one person, and you're wasting.
Exactly. But no.
And again, this is a world where most people can't read. So literally, you're just being an elitist for being able to read. You think you're better than everybody, Anushka? Is that what you're going for? I thought you were one of us, one of the common folk.
Oh, no.
Look at you there with your shiny weapons and your literacy. You've changed.
I'm just the old Anushka. You've changed. Oh, no. Okay. I hate to do this. Can I ask for another quick bathroom break? And then we can pick up with some zombie killing and some necromancer hunting before the session's up?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, sounds good. 2 minutes. I'll be right back.